Places like Ecuador could become a kind of a world focus of what alternative can happen. Now, the government of Ecuador is also kicking out the U.S. Air Force, the Manta Air Force Base, at the end of this year. And these are all positive signs that the imperial powers, the secrecy, the trashing of the earth, that it is beginning to unravel. And so natural law, I think, needs to kind of dictate the future agenda.
This gentleman made a comment I want to comment on very quickly. He pointed at something which is very important. There are, right now, around the world and in the United States, many activist movements of trying to get at fundamental government lies of some kind or another, institutional lies. But by and large, none of these movements are getting anywhere. The secrecy reform is one of the least funded of all, but they're all passionate and they want to get forward. The ET issue is, because of its incredible profoundness, has got the potential to break through. And what happens if we break through? It's that window, that door, these other reformist operations and secrecy movements are going to be able to go through and start working to resolve their issues. In other words, it's like somebody breaking through the line and everybody follows behind them. That's non-trivial. There are many lies, many governments out there that have created false realities, and the people have a chance to maybe deal with that finally. But we will be kind of the point of the spear. If that's the way it is, that's the way it is. But I try to keep that in mind. I have tried to network with some of these other groups. Some are environment, some are in, peace, landmines, whatever. But because of the stigma of the UFO thing, they do not want to sit and break bread. I understand that.
Let's talk about how can we approach them. No?
It's not easy, but it's getting better, and we may start to see more collaboration, but probably we'll see disclosure first. Paola, once disclosure comes, I think all of us are going to be very popular, and people will want to come and talk with us, and we can network, and we will hopefully help each other out. That'd be nice.
I agree with what he said as far as I remember during the Vietnam War, the Native Americans took over Wounded Knee. We had a lot of other groups come through, and there was change in society over the Vietnam War question. And if you remember, the Native Americans took up and did the same thing. However, this is a discussion that's apart from what we've been talking about. There is a chapter in my new book, All of the Above, called Alien Racism. I have made so many mistakes because I do not know who's visiting us, I do not know where they come from, and I have no idea how they think because they are alien. And one of the problems I've had with all of my stories is that I have interviewed people like Dr. Michael Wolff, whose contact was a gray, but it was a baby gray contact. It was not the gray. There are several types of grays. That particular gray was a positive gray. It was from another place. And I have interviewed people who have been contacted by different races that appear ugly. And I do not think that it's the time to say this is good, bad, evil, whatever. And I was very embarrassed by something that happened to me. I was talking about the reptilians over dinner with some Native American people. And one of those women was a shaman. She was a medicine lady. And she said, "How dare you?" She said, "Our ancestors were the serpent people, and they carried the knowledge. She said the serpent people from our ancestors were not evil, and they were very wise people. And she said to me, Quetzalcoatl is called a serpent, plumed serpent in Mexico, and a lot of cultures have these serpent people. And we've just called all the reptilians evil. And I'd like to know how they would think of us. If we're on another planet, they show some pictures of us and say these people are evil, they have pedophile. They have sex with their children. These people are good because these people are Tibetan. What they do is they are Tibetan monks and they meditate all day. These judgments on these races of aliens cannot be made just like this. Good, bad, reptilian, gray, blondes. Because maybe some of the blondes and some of the Pleiadians or who was coming here is not exactly positive. So in my chapter, I say, it is according to the agenda of the race, why they are here. Some of them are here maybe for their own agenda, like hybridization, because they need survival, and they're using, you know, egg and sperm because they need to survive. For them, that's good. For us, that's not so good. They didn't ask permission. But you know, you must look at this before we go and brand reptilians, blondes, Nordics are good. And Colonel Corso told me there were 57 different races of aliens. And just from Paula, I have to say, aliens for me are alien. I have no idea how they think. I don't have any idea why they're here. And I'm not going to take the government's, testimony as gospel as why these people are here. And when we get as angry as I've heard us be, let's remember that there's a whole group that are here that are spiritual light beings. They're interdimensional. They are also inspiring us. They are spiritual light beings that are not, I don't know why we call them alien. They are just beings. They are souls from other places. Why do we brand those people alien? They are giving us inspiration every day to go and do things, and whether they appear as light, whether they appear as people, whether they appear whatever, to me, I still think we need to be careful about alien racism and putting that out there, because people are going to be afraid. And then I have the Indian shaman lady saying, watch what you say about the serpent people.
I'd like to support that with a piece of second-hand testimony that I can report from Barbara Lamb, who's done a lot of work with experiencers, and I met her at the Conscious Life Expo in Los Angeles this February, and she told me a personal story about how a reptilian had appeared in her room out of nowhere, had held her hand and looked her in the eye for 2 minutes and communicated with her that he had been bred to communicate with certain people to spread the message that they are not all bad. And that's very, very interesting to me.
We have to be careful, because the UFO community is putting everything in boxes, and this is the way it is, and this is the way it is, and this is...
Because it's convenient for us to...
But we're humans, that's why we do that.
That's right. We're always judging and we're always putting things in boxes, and the truth might be much more complicated than that.
I think it's very complex.
Well, it is very complex, and thank you, Paula. I believe that is something that actually, in the community, if you want to use this in a very loose sense, that there are all different kinds of beings, that's really what we're talking about, and widening the perception of the kinds of beings and the multidimensional nature of all of life, us included. That's what we're here to talk about. That's what we're opening the doors to. What happens is, you're right, when it gets to sovereignty, that's one of the most important aspects of what we're talking about here. What we're talking about here is a transition that we're going through, humanity and the planet. In fact, possibly the galaxies are all in a state of evolution, ETs included, okay? ETs, interdimensionals, you name it. They're all spirits inhabiting bodies, inhabiting light bodies, if you will. It just depends. We're all spirit. So at any rate, what Brian's saying is also valid. In other words, this is Gaia, this earth, and we need to actually protect her, allow her to thrive, and this has been held in slavery for too long. Okay, this whole being we call the earth is a being. So actually, it is a movement towards freedom, of breaking the chains. It gets that wide, but it's also a question to be asked of every, visiting, even people that are here, even subterranean beings. We're talking about, is the earth and is humanity allowed sovereignty? Are we each individually allowed sovereignty to grow and thrive to the best ability that we have to do so?
And can we show that we're capable of it?
We're doing so at the moment, I would surmise. But, what we're saying here is basically that some of these beings